probably gonna get lynched for this, and I'll never find anybody to date ever again. But you know, that's life. Gotta make choices. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my booktube channel, Books with Leo. And today I have a little bit of a different video for you guys, because today I will be recommending you books based on my horrible dating stories. Oh my god, why am I doing this? I've got a little pile of books here, and to be honest, I'll only be telling you 3 of my horrible dating stories, and I'll only be recommending you 3 books based off on that, because I figured if I have to do a little story time before I recommend every and each of these books, and if I do like 5 books, we'll be here for hours and hours, and nobody has time for that really. To be honest, I just don't have time for that. But you know, maybe you guys have. Definitely tell me then. So a couple of months ago, I had this horrible idea, and I put it on Twitter because that is the way I am, unfortunately. And I was like, what if I recommend you guys books based on my horrible dating story times? And everybody was like, yes, let's go. And I was like, this is such a bad idea, and here I am doing it. Isn't it fun? Life is great. So yeah. Of course, most of these stories are not very recent, and I'm also not going to be telling like incredibly personal stuff because I do not want to harm any of the people I've dated. I don't want them to look bad or anything. I mean, we're all people, we're all learning, you know. Let's get right into it. Yeah, this one's a bit bad, and it's not just on her part, it's on my part as well. This one was, I think, last summer. I was dating this girl, let's call her Kara for now, and Kara and I, we liked each other, and we went on a first date, and she slept over at my place afterwards, and nothing happened because I was too much of a wuss to make anything happen. It was really bad. She even said at one point to me like, this feels like a slumber party between friends, and I was like, that's not the vibe I was going for, ouch. But I did have a lot of fun with her, and you know, we connected, so we decided to go on a second date, and she had this whole plan, and we met up, and it was really fun. We went on this really cool date, but during the date, I don't know, I was nervous, and I was like, okay, I need to kiss this girl, I need to just make it happen. And so I had drank quite a bit of beer, but like not too much, but just like a tad too much. Anyway, so me and her, we were just having fun being about on our date, and I don't know, at some point I was kind of tired. It was not the best day for me really to be on a date at all. It was a lot of fun, but like I had to really try to have fun, and I don't know, somewhere in my head I was just like, I want to be with somebody that I can have like effortless fun with. So I just sort of stopped trying. I relaxed a bit, and I was just like, I'll see how this goes. And as soon as I stopped trying, I was just like, I don't think we really go together. And I think we both felt that way, so like no hard feelings at all, and she knows that if she's watching this. I'm so sorry I'm sharing this to the internet. I think we just both felt like we weren't meant to be together, like it wasn't like the best click ever. So on our second date, when we left, it was kind of awkward, and I was in the train afterwards, and I was just like, what is life? I'll be alone forever. Maybe I should be. Wasn't the best experience ever, but wasn't the worst either. The book that I'm going to be recommending based on this dating story is a book with also some characters in there that I think are not really meant to be together, really. I haven't actually talked about this book ever on my channel, I just realised, but I do really like it, and that is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, written by Hank Green, and yes, that is the brother of John Green. So I got sent this by HarperCollins Publishers. This is the Dutch copy, Een zeer opmerkelijk verschijnsel, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. First, let's just talk about why I recommend this book based on my dating story. Our main character is called April May, and she's a little bit of an unlikable character, and she has this girlfriend called Maya, and her and Maya are just... Maya is so kind and loving and such a wonderful person, and April is just not really. And that is obviously not to say that Karen and I are like horrible people, or like she's horrible. That's not what I mean. I'm so sorry, Karen. Oh my god. That's not what I mean, obviously. I don't know. I think the way she and I are not intended to be together also is the way April and Maya are definitely not meant to be together. And April is also bisexual, just like me, so like, ooh, representation. I'm like doing representation dances in all of my videos. Anyway, don't know what's up with me today. So this is sort of a sci-fi contemporary book, and it's about April May, who all of a sudden discovers a coal one night, and a coal is it's a really big statue that's just there all of a sudden, and she's like, what is this? Is this like modern art or something? She doesn't know. And so she calls it Carl, can't pronounce that. She calls it Carl, and she calls up her friend, and she's like, we should take a video of this, and the video goes viral because afterwards, they find out that these cars are sent from outer space. They're like sort of aliens that are statues. I'm explaining this so horribly, but this book, it's so good. It really delves into internet fame and how it affects people and how it can affect anxiety, relationships, and there's also quite some discussion about bisexuality in this book and about how sort of a lot of times when people get famous or when they're well known, the bisexuality gets swept under the rug because it's hard to understand. And so if you're a woman and you get known and you have a relationship with a man, people just dub you straight. And when you have a relationship with a woman, people just dub you a lesbian. And yeah, that's really harmful. This book also delves into that a little bit. So yeah, that is the book I'm recommending based on my dating story with Kara. Hi, Kara. This is so awkward. The next story is a little bit scandalous, and it's been a really, really long time ago, so I feel kind of comfortable talking about this one in a little bit more depth. This is a dating story of me and a guy that I'll be calling the weird foot guy. This already makes for an amazing start, to be honest. So this is a really, really long time ago. I think this was when I was around 16 or something, so I didn't even know I was a bisexual at that point, and my very first boyfriend had just broken up with me. I was dating him for, I think, 3 months. I was heartbroken. I was so sad. And this was before I met my partner that I had for, I think, 4 years. We also lived together and we broke up, I think, a year ago now. So this was like way back. So I met this guy, I think, through Instagram because he was commenting like on my photos and we started talking about like vintage fashion and stuff like that. And it was really fun. And I don't know, we had a great time, we were chatting, and then sometimes we decided to Skype, so we were like, we'd been chatting for such a long time, and then we were Skyping, we had a lot of fun. He could be really, really, really vague sometimes, and sometimes I was just like, what does he mean? What's he onto? And now, in retrospect, when I'm looking back on this, I'm like, he might have just been very stoned a couple of those times, and I was like so innocent and pure, I didn't like see it for what it was, so I was just like, this dude is weird. Meanwhile, he was just being like super stoned. Not sure if that's what happened, but it's very possible. There's a lot to unpack here, so I'm just going to go from the beginning, I suppose. So we were FaceTiming one night, or Skyping, and he was being so vague and weird and slow, even though we had really had a nice connection before this. So I was just like, what's going on with you, you know? And like I said before, he might have just been stoned. But at one point, he just showed me his foot on Skype, and I was like, hey, you know, I'd prefer to see your face, so we can just like have a good time. He was like, no, look at my foot. And I was just like, I don't really want to, but I had to. He made me look at his foot for like 5 minutes. And I was just like, what's going on, you know? So that was weird. But I was 16 and I was like, it's fine. It's fine. I was just like swooping away all of those red flags. And then on the day we were supposed to be going on a date together, we were supposed to be going to a festival together. I'm not sure how it went or I discovered this afterward or before, but I found this other Instagram that he had on which he just posted pictures of sandwiches. And not like, ooh, here's this really intricate sandwich that I made and it's really special, but more just like pictures of bread taken from above, just like a plate with like bread on it, just a slice of bread, and just like different plates, different countertops, different tables, different types of bread, but like the same picture every time. It was just so weird. I found out he had that Instagram and I was just like, so what's with the bread Instagram really? I guess I swept that under the rug too, or I found out afterward. Don't remember because it's a really long time ago. But we were supposed to go on this date. I was going to a festival with some friends of mine and he was also going there. So I'd have my friends as a backup, you know, but I'd be meeting up with him for a bit. And it was like a really nice setup for a 16-year-old to go on a date. Like, if we forget about the feet and like the bread Instagram. I was going on this date with this dude and a really weird thing happened because on the day of, he texted me and he was like, hey, so I'm on the train, but I forgot to put on shoes. So I suppose I have to go back home. And I was just like, yo, you forgot, what? I was already on my way to the festival and he cancelled while I was already on my way and he was just like, yeah, I can't make it, I don't really feel like it, and it was really weird overall, and he cancelled our date, and so that's really weird altogether. So based on the weird foot guy with the bread Instagram, I will be recommending you guys Daisy Jones and the Six. And now you're probably like, what does Daisy Jones and the Six have to do with the weird guy with the bread Instagram? Let me tell you, this video is so chaotic. In this book, we have a character that's really doing their own thing and that's not listening or taking into account anybody's feelings or anybody really in their surroundings. And that really sort of connects with the weird bread guy, the weird food bread guy. Both Daisy Jones and the guy I was dating are sort of really not in touch with the real world and with like everything that's happening in it. I feel like, at least. So that's why I'll be recommending this book. This was written by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who has also written The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is a book I'm constantly raving about because I really love it. But this book, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like my favorite book ever, but I'd still recommend it to you, especially if you love the 70s rock and roll era, which I really do. In this book, we follow Daisy Jones and the Six is like some sort of band, and they get together and become really famous. It really reads as if it's like a biography of a famous band, the way they got famous and the way everything declined and the group fell apart, and that's really this story. And yeah, it also says on the top, everyone was there, everyone remembers it differently. And yeah, this just really reads as if it's like a biography about Fleetwood Mac. I think it's also inspired by Fleetwood Mac, so if you like Fleetwood Mac, this is really interesting. And it's also just interesting from like a literary perspective. It's almost a writing exercise in writing a biography about non-existent people, so it's really interesting. I'd really recommend the audiobook for this because it's just amazing. It's a full cost audiobook. This whole book is interview style, so it can be a little bit tiring to read it like physically, but the audiobook is really great. So I'd recommend like reading a bit, doing the audiobook for a bit, and yeah, I think you'll have a really good time. Probably a better time than I had with the weird foot guy with the bread Instagram. So yeah, recommending this book. The next story that I have for you guys is just me matching with some really cute girls on Tinder, having like really fun conversations with them, texting with them, sometimes FaceTiming with them, having a grand time really, and then never really going on a date with them, despite having made like several plans. I think this happens to everybody that is single, especially in this time because we can't really date, but also before, because sometimes you just match with people, you have really fun conversations, but you never really get around to actually meeting up, which is sad. And I think that's also due to Tinder being like, so you're so not attached to anybody. You feel very like you could be swapped out for anybody else really, because there's so much choice on Tinder and on dating apps in general. There was one girl in particular that I matched with over the summer. She was really cute and we had a lot of fun conversations, and I think, yeah, we were texting for hours sometimes, like sending voice memos over and stuff, and it was really fun. I don't know, we didn't really like fully match on certain things, and like we both had some mental stuff going on and it wasn't like the perfect situation. You know, that happens sometimes, it's totally fine, but we made like so many different fun dating plans. Like they were all such good dating plans and we never got around to doing any of them really, and I don't think we will be getting around to it, which is fine, but you know, that happens sometimes. So for this story, I'll be recommending a book with a couple in it that struggles to be together, and it's not like her and I were a couple at all, like we never actually met. But you know, I had to think of something, so this is what I came up with. And of course, first I thought of Six of Crows because Inaj and Kaz really like each other, and I don't think this is really like a spoiler. If you've been on the internet ever, you know this. But that's like such an easy recommendation, and you know, I'm always talking about Six of Crows, so I thought I'd recommend you guys something else. And that something else is also not really a book that is unheard of on this channel, but still, I'll be recommending A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. And in this book, this is basically a retelling of A Study in Pink by Sherlock Holmes. Oh my god, I said by Sherlock Holmes. This is a retelling of A Study in Pink, you know, the Sherlock Holmes book by Arthur Conan Doyle, not by Sherlock Holmes, obviously. This book basically goes off on the concept of what if the Watson-Holmes families were actual families with actual descendants, and we follow their descendants in this book. They are in boarding school together, Charlotte Holmes and Jamie Watson, and basically they get framed for a murder that was done in Sherlock style, but it's not them, they didn't do it. And Watson is a boy and Charlotte is a girl, and they really like each other, but they really struggle to be together, especially due to their families having like a rivalry, but also due to some trauma that Charlotte's been through. That trauma is handled really well in this book. It's you know, trigger warning for rape, but that trauma is handled so well, so delicately. At the same time, this is such a fun YA murder mystery. It has a lot of banter, a lot of good topics that are being discussed in the book, and it's just, yeah, it's fun, it's interesting, it's intriguing, it's like edge of your seat. Would recommend this. So, oh my god, those were all of the books I wanted to recommend you guys based on my horrible dating life. I love how you guys get recommendations at my expense. Yay! I hope none of my actual dates watched this video. If you did, however, do comment, or maybe don't. Don't know if is that smart? Probably not. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. And definitely do feel free to share some of your horrible dating stories in the comments, and definitely give me some book recommendations based off of them. So yeah, that's a good idea, I suppose. Why not? I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!